Okay, today we're going to be changing the tire front and rear on the Roadstar 1700. We're not going to take off the fender, but we are going to take off the bags. So there are 4. There's one right here, one on the other side, and then 2 down below. And we're going to use 4mm Allen. Just break them loose. Okay, now that all 4 bolts are off, they also have a washer on them. They might stick, they might not. We're just leaving the bolts in here. And then once those 4 are out, it literally just lifts off as easy as that. To take off the rear caliper, you got one 12mm right here and another 12mm right there. Still should be able to take off the axle and take off the wheel without having to remove the 14mm. Just take off the 2 12mm for the rear caliper. All right, so now that we've taken off this side of the saddlebag as well, 22mm on this side, and it's a 27mm on the other side. You got this nut. Come to this side, and we should be able to pull it all the way through. If you're struggling trying to get it out, see if you can get something in between, just to like get some leverage on it, just to separate it a little bit from it. So I'm just putting my feet under, just so the weight of the tire is really not on it. And then just go ahead and take that out. All right, so we're gonna let this drop. We're gonna bring it forward. So with my feet, I'm pushing the tire forward this way, so that we can take the belt off. So now the belt is off. We can then roll the wheel back, and then this pulls off. There we go. And then don't forget that you have this spacer right here. And so if you want to clean these out and re-grease them up, you can. You have this as well inside of the wheel that is also lubed up. So make sure you don't lose that if you're going to take this to a tire shop. I'm going to go ahead and now slide the wheel underneath, jack it up some more, and slide the wheel underneath. Okay. There's a cylinder inside. So if we come to the other side, I cleaned this already. We're gonna put some grease in there, repack this part. Just got some grease, and repack it in all of those like so, all the way around. Gonna put this guy back in, long cylinder. Maybe I put a little bit too much grease, that's okay. Now we can put this back in. Now we are ready to put this back on. So think of them as pizza slices. They only really go on one way. And then these notches will go in between them. And also grease this up a little bit. And so we'll go ahead and put this on. These are the only 2 things next. We need to grease these up, and then this goes on the other side, on the rotor side. All right, so I re-greased that and put it on the rotor side. Okay, so I got the tire under, and with it still jacked up really high, I was able to roll the wheel forward, get the belt on with relative ease. If you are wondering, we are not messing with the adjustment screws on either side. Okay, so I got the axle in, rubber mallet it in until I get to the other side. When you get to the point that this thing is getting pretty close, just pull back on this or pull back on the tire so that you can get this in right here. So the screw bottoms out, and you're good to keep on hammering it in. And this is going in pretty good. There we go, that's all of it. Okay, so now I'm putting this back on. Make sure the screw is inwards because it has to bottom out on this. Let's put the washer on, nut on. Okay, so I got the torque wrench on, set to 85 foot-pounds, and then got the 27mm wrench on there holding the nuts so I can torque it down. If you thought we were done, we are not, because we still have to attach the brake caliper. Okay, welcome to part 2 for the front tire. I'm gonna jack up the bike just enough so I can get a motorcycle scissor jack in the front. I'm gonna jack it up on this part of the frame. Now that I have the bike up, I can now jack it up. All right, I have positioned the motorcycle scissor jack to be on the frame. I'm gonna jack up the motorcycle scissor jack a little bit. And I can drop. We are now going to take off the brake calipers. There are two 12 millimeters, one right here, one right here. And once you can take off these 2 bolts, the caliper will slide right off the rotor. So next step is to come on this side, take off that caliper, and then also take out the axle, and that's pretty much it. So we're gonna take out the Allen bolt with a 6 millimeter. And then just loosen it. And then once you take that out, we can get a 22 millimeter on the axle bolt and then just take it off. There'll be 2 spacers, one right there, one right there. And those will fall off and the tire will drop down once you completely take off the axle. I'm gonna lift up the tire a little more so there's not a lot of weight on the axle. And then I can slide the axle out. Okay, so I just cleaned these pieces up and those will be re-greased. I'm just gonna drop the bike until these holes line up and then we'll slide the axle through. Now that I have lined it up on both sides, I'm gonna go ahead and put the axle in. So now that the axle's right there, we can start screwing it in. And then all the excess grease will be basically scraped off right here, and then you can just wipe it off. So I'm gonna go ahead and torque this to 60 foot-pounds now. There we go. Okay, time for the Allen bolt to go back in. Okay, Allen bolt is in. Now let's put the brake calipers back on. Let's go ahead and torque these caliper bolts to 29 foot-pounds. Okay, let's go ahead and torque these now. And don't forget to pump your brakes. Pump those. And then pump the rear as well. If you change the rear tire, of course.